It finally happened, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet. Honestly, I kind of feel like a clown. We put out a video this morning where we ranked some wide receivers from a fantasy football perspective. And we said, yeah, with Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers will most likely be a New York Jet, but every day that goes by that it hasn't happened, I'm losing hope. It's just dwindling down. It's happened. It's here. This will be the best quarterback play, in my mind, the New York Jets have maybe ever had. We have so much to talk about here. We have so much to get into and what this means for Breece Hall, what this means for Garrett Wilson, what this means with the New York Jets overall. But I want to show this to y'all real quick. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's going to take us a little bit of time to pull this up. But if y'all remember last time that we went live because we thought Aaron Rodgers was a New York Jet, kind of made a fool of ourselves, right? I mean, we went live because some guy named Trey Wingo tweeted out that Aaron Rodgers was going over to the Jets, and all of a sudden we were all in on it. Shefty does not miss. Once in a blue moon, maybe he does, but no, if he tweets it out, it's happening. So let's go through and let's see everything that's been reported. So Adam Schefter. Aaron Rodgers is being traded to the New York Jets. Sources tell ESPN. Trade compensation per sources. Jets get Aaron Rodgers, pick 15, and a future 5th. The Packers get pick 13, a future 2nd, 6th, and a conditional 2024 4th second-round pick if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the play. So essentially it will happen, right? So if we're looking at this a little more in depth, the Packers move up 2 spots and they get 2 extra second round picks for Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, I think this makes a lot of sense for both parties. I think that this is a reasonable price point. Obviously, the issue that you're going to have with an Aaron Rodgers trade in general, like if you are the New York Jets, it's just the contract you're going to be looking up. Let me go ahead and pull this up just so we can highlight exactly how much money Aaron Rodgers is actually owed this next year, because it is a ridiculous amount. I mean, obviously, Aaron Rodgers is still an incredible quarterback, but if we're looking at the amount that he is getting paid, like, ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Rodgers is not coming at a discount. Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's worth more than just 2 second-round picks. But at the same time, you are going to have to go through, you're going to have to pay Aaron Rodgers, I mean, about $32 million in 2024 when Aaron Rodgers in 2024 is going to be 41 years old. So this is a push to go all in over the next 2 seasons if you're the New York Jets. And it makes a lot of sense if you are the Jets, right? Because if we're going to go ahead and pull up the Jets over the years, they have been laughably bad. And this is an organization that's been bad top to bottom. And this is something that I used to not think, right? I mean, I used to be a little bit more on the line of the only thing that matters is the players. The players are the only thing that matters. Why would we talk about anything else? Well, I've been coming around over the past few seasons to the fact that I think ownership and top level management affects the team top to bottom, where if we are going to go through and look at how bad the New York Jets have been over the years, it's laughable. Like if we're going to go ahead and pull up, what should we look at in general? I think the last time the New York Jets have had a top 10 passing offense was a decade ago. I think the last time we saw that top 10 passing offense for the Jets was with Ryan Fitzmagic. The time before that, I believe they had only had one other top 10 passing season. I think Aaron Rodgers comes in and is immediately the best quarterback the New York Jets have ever had, right? This past season, if we're going to be looking at the Jets, I mean, this is a team that obviously dealt with Zach Wilson. You dealt with Joe Flacco. I mean, what's kind of funny is with the New York Jets this past season, you could possibly make an argument that Mike White was actually the best starting quarterback here. I mean, if we're going to go from an adjusted yards per pass attempt standpoint, Zach Wilson is above Mike White barely, but in reality, I mean, just Zach Wilson looks so bad in those games where despite that, Garrett Wilson still dominated as a rookie. Now, obviously with Garrett Wilson, he's an incredible talent top to bottom. We've already known that. He was a phenomenal prospect coming out of Ohio State. But with some of the worst quarterback play in the entire NFL this past year, Garrett Wilson goes out there and he averages 65 receiving yards per game, has 147 targets, 83 receptions, and 1,100 receiving yards. Bump way the hell up Garrett Wilson. Bump up Breece Hall. We know Aaron Rodgers isn't really mobile at this point of his NFL career. We know Aaron Rodgers will be quick to check the ball down when the pocket collapses. I think you're going to get a ton, and I repeat, a ton of checkdowns in the direction of Breece Hall this next season. So top to bottom, this is phenomenal for everybody on the New York Jets from a fantasy football perspective. This also helps out Jordan Love. Now you have the certainty Jordan Love is going to be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers this next season. Not only does it help out Jordan Love in that we now have that certainty, but at the same time, at pick 13, you're most likely going to have the option to take Jackson Smith-Njigba. It really is going to be up to, do the Houston Texans decide to pass on JSN at pick 12? And if they decide to pass on JSN, then the Green Bay Packers are going to be able to be that team that brings in Jackson Smith-Njigba at 14. If they decide not to do that, they're going to have those additional second rounders where maybe they go through and maybe they decide to instead get a discount player like Josh Downs in the second round. Maybe instead they go out there and try to get like Jalen Hyatt in the second round. But this is going to allow the team to actually have more flexibility in how they're able to go through and surround Jordan Love with talents. Now, what I'm interested in doing is I want to see where these guys are going to be going in fantasy football drafts. So let's go ahead and let's pull this up. Let's see where we are going to have Garrett Wilson, where we are going to have Breece Hall, where we are going to have Jordan Love, Christian Watson, the whole 9 yards in fantasy football drafts. So let's pull up Underdog. If you want to get in with this real quick, we are just going to be getting in this $3 lobby on Underdog. There are 8 spots in this, so you can go and hop in right now. And of course, if you want to get in drafts with us on the live stream, we do these very, very, very often. You can find the link to Underdog Fantasy down there in the comment section in the live chat. They just announced the prize pool for Best Ball Mania, which is the largest tournament they are going to have, the largest fantasy football tournament that anybody has each and every year. And they just announced that at $15 million for the prize pool. And it's a $25 buy-in for Best Ball Mania. So I'm extremely excited to get in those Best Ball Mania drafts. That's not going to launch until right after the NFL draft. It should be up by next week. So for now, we're just going to get in a private draft here. But I just want to see if we're going to begin to see the movement of guys like Breece Hall. We're going to get the 101. So we are going to be in a great spot. The Pound says he's in the draft with us. Happy to see you out here, my man. We got Mark Word out here, Adrian. Adrian says Aaron Rodgers now has 100 receivers to throw the ball to. Yeah, that's a good point as well. I would maybe say that this is probably the best team that Aaron Rodgers has been surrounded with in quite some time. I mean, definitely way better than what you had last year. I don't want to say Garrett Wilson's on the level of, Devontae Adams yet. I think that's a stretch. But still, if you're looking at the Jets top to bottom, I think with the Jets, they are a significantly better roster than what you had with Green Bay over the past few seasons. I don't necessarily know what the passing volume is going to look like. Like, I don't know how excited we can get about Rodgers for fantasy football purposes. But still, it's a really good spot to be in. And Ethan says, bought a 12-man Superflex orphan. Quarterbacks are Jalen Hurts, Desmond Ridder with A.J. Brown, Chase as wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. We have the 109, decided to trade Chase in the 109 for Garrett Wilson in the 103 to help our quarterback room. What do you think? I love Garrett Wilson. I think this trade helps Garrett Wilson a lot. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that you should be going through and trading Jamar Chase away at that price. I think you can ask for a lot more for Chase. We're going to go Josh Allen. We actually did an Underdog draft on this channel yesterday, where instead we decided to go with Jalen Hurts at one. Now, Underdog's not only super flex, Underdog is going to be a lot of one quarterback drafts as well. I mean, the Best Ball Mania tournament that they have is all one quarterback. And keep in mind, these are best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the season. I drafted over 700 of these last offseason. You're going to continue to draft a ton this year. Won $150,000 on Underdog last year. Like I said, if you want to get in with these with us, you can find the link down there in the description, in the comment section, and in the live chat. Okay. Joseph says, I wouldn't call it fleecing, but fair compensation for a player of his caliber. What the Seahawks got for Russ last year was a fleece. Yeah, to be honest with you, I mean, I think that if we are looking at the price point the Jets paid for Aaron Rodgers, I think it's very reasonable. I think if the Jets were to have paid, say, pick 13 straight up for Aaron Rodgers, I think that would have been way too much. But if you're essentially selling Aaron Rodgers for those second round picks, it makes sense. So let's just kind of recap this. If Aaron Rodgers plays the next 2 seasons, essentially what the Packers are getting is they are getting 2 second round picks. That's the gist of the deal, right? If Aaron Rodgers were to play this next year and then say maybe Aaron Rodgers is like, you know what, man, I just not good enough. I'm just going to hang it up. I don't really care about football. And if he were to retire, then it's going to be 1 second round pick for Aaron Rodgers. So in my mind, I feel like the Jets were put into a tough corner. Like they were put into a tough situation when Rodgers is going out and publicly saying, yeah, I want to play for the Jets. I want to play for the Jets, but we just got to get a deal done. I feel like if you're the Jets at that point, like there's so much pressure on you to make sure that you're able to go through and you're able to get that sorted. So the fact that they were able to pull it off and they essentially only paid 2 second rounders, I really, really like it. But JN out here, JN, your text is the one who showed me that this happened. If y'all don't know, Nash Talks text is always, he's like my Adam Schefter. As soon as some news breaks, he shoots me a text and like, oh, okay, that's awesome. But it says hashtag team rap sheet. Ali says, hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I popped in. Do you have redraft rankings on vlogfantasy.com? And would you do a draft with one quarterback? Yeah, so if you're going to pull up our site here, vlogfantasy.com, you can get 30% off any subscription with promo code vlog. But this has pretty much everything, right? So this time of the year, what we have is we're going to have our Dynasty 1 quarterback rankings. We're going to have our Dynasty Superflex rankings. And we have our Best Ball 1 quarterback rankings up there as well. We are going to roll out redraft rankings later on as we get closer to redraft season. So right now you can use our Best Ball rankings as redraft rankings. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of crossover. But on vlogfantasy.com, we don't have redraft rankings out just yet because nobody's really drafting in redraft leagues. Everybody's in best ball or dynasty right at this time. But Bailey Ape says, I thought it was a second rounder and a conditional first rounder if he plays. Let me go back and check that. Whenever I read the Shefty tweet, my understanding of it was that it was 2 second round picks. Let me see. So we are not able to take Garrett Wilson here. Garrett Wilson goes directly ahead of us. We will go through and we will take Austin Eckler, and I'm not going to reach on Breece Hall. I kind of want to, but we'll just go ahead. We'll take Austin Eckler and Saquon Barkley. Let me know, is there any shot that you are going through and taking Breece Hall over one of these running backs now that we have a significantly better offense? But yeah, let me read this. A conditional second rounder that becomes a first. Okay, actually, never mind. Yeah, this is a much higher price tag than I thought. I'm so sorry that we read this wrong. So the Packers are getting the bump up from 15 to 13. They're getting pick 42. And in 2024, they're getting a first round pick. So the Packers get a slight pick upgrade, a first and a second rounder. Never mind. I think I probably would lean with the side of the Green Bay Packers on this one. I feel like the Packers maybe won this deal. Can y'all please spam the chat? I mean, obviously it makes sense for both teams considering the fact that, I mean, the New York Jets need to go through. They need to try to win right now. And at the same time, the Packers really just burned that bridge with Aaron Rodgers. But can y'all spam the chat? We have 400 people here. I need one-word answers. Who won the deal? Packers, Jets, or fair? One of those so we can see. Okay, so we have fair, Packers, fair, Packers, fair, Packers, Jets, Packers, fair, Packers, 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 fair, 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 Packers, fair, fair. So it seems like most people are saying that it's going to be a fair deal. You know what? We could also just be, I don't want to say confused, but we could have some serious recency bias underway right now, because if you remember, I mean, everybody was super excited about the veteran quarterback trades after the Rams won the Super Bowl. The Rams win the Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford, and everybody's all about going through and trying to trade 4 veteran quarterbacks, right? Then everybody's all in on Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos. Who the hell cares what they paid? It's going to be the best thing ever, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we got so burned, and by we, I'm talking about the overall fantasy football community, by the Russell Wilson to Denver Broncos move, that our initial reaction is just to say, okay, yeah, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. Where if we take that step back and go back and look at the Matthew Stafford deal, where you actually had the Rams paying 2 first-round picks to go get Stafford, I mean, they won the Super Bowl because of that. So I think it is, I don't want to say Super Bowl or bust for the New York Jets, as what's been the New York Jets' best season in recent memory? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. Let's go New York Jets record by year. Okay. I'm going to swing this over so y'all can see this as well. Beware. This is bright. Okay. It's going to be bright, ladies and gentlemen. But I want to show this off here. 7-10, 4-13, 2-14, 7-9, 4-12, 5-11, 5-11, 10-6, 4-12, 8-8, 6-10, 8-8. So since 2010, essentially over the past decade, they've had one winning season. One. If you're looking at their overall offensive rank as well, it has just been so bad. Like, you're looking at recent years. 29, 28, 32, 31, 23, 24, 30, 11, 28, 29, 28. The Jets have been a bottom 5 offense pretty much over the past decade, year in and year out. The only season that they were respectable, I mean just respectable, was the year that Ryan Fitzmagic was actually able to go out there and do something. So it's an interesting spot. Like, you kind of have to do something if you're the Jets. In my mind, keep in mind, I'm not a fan of any NFL team. So, of course, I'm just a fantasy football diehard. Like, my brain is broken. But, I mean, I'm, like, so far gone that I'm willing to say, like, why the hell would anybody still be a Jets fan? Like, I really don't understand that. I don't understand, like, if you've been rooting for the Jets over the past few years, how have you not abandoned ship yet? But the Ryan says Jets have been a joke at least the past 15 years. That's what I'm talking about. And I know this is a super hot take, and I know people are going to hate me for saying this. Keep in mind, I come from a place where I don't root for any NFL team in particular. I'm just a fan of the game. I love players. There's nothing I love more than the NFL, but I don't root for any one particular team. I don't really understand the thought process of, like, why would the Jets have any fans? Why would the Detroit Lions have any fans? Why would the Cleveland Browns have any fans? Like, these teams that are just garbage from top to bottom, like from a ownership level down standpoint, they're dysfunctional and they just have no shot really to win. And now the Jets maybe are turning it around, right? Maybe the Lions are turning it around. But I'm just saying, in general, it's hard for me. Okay, Marker Word coming out with a massive dono. Thank you, my man. Says, huge Packers fan here, but I can't wait to see how Rodgers plays in the AFC. He gets to play Mahomes, Josh Allen twice a year, Tua twice a year, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Deshaun Watson, and Dak. Not the first time, but still, yeah. That's another thing about this. Like, if you are the Jets, it's such a difficult spot to be in. It really any of those teams in the AFC. Like, it's like back in the day whenever you had Peyton Manning and Tom Brady going against each other year in and year out. It's like if you're a team in the AFC and you're having to deal with this era's version of that in Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes with the Cincinnati Bengals and Kansas City Chiefs, it is just going to be so difficult for you to be able to contend. It is so tough. But let me go back to what we were talking about with the just horrible franchises still having fans, even if they've been bad for 30 years. Dragon says, with prayer, bro. That's how you survive. Let's see. Samir says, being a Longhorn fan, but hating on the Jets. I mean, we won a national championship in 2005. Since 2005, the Jets have had like one top 10 offense in the NFL. Like, there's a completely big difference there, my friend. And 2008. Like, being a Longhorn fan is much better than being a Jets fan. I'll tell you that much, my friend. Okay. Daniel says, anyone know if Tugger ran a 40 today in his pro day? I mean, with Sean Tugger, you know the man is an athletic freak. Not really worried about that. And I love Sean Tugger as well. If we're going to go on a quick side tangent, what I'm a little bit worried about with Sean Tugger is there's that report coming out that he had something wrong with his heart that may impact him playing football. And also, there are all the other reports just saying he's falling down boards, he's falling down boards, he's falling down boards. Like, it seems like Sean Tugger has no shot to go on day 2. It seems like he may even be like a round 6, round 7 pick. So y'all know, I mean, I want to be a Sean Tugger fanboy, but it is so hard to go all in on him here. It's so hard. Benny says, 42 years, a diehard Jets fan. Oh, tough life, my friend. I'm sorry to hear it. And Big Witty says, we don't even talk about draft picks in 2025 because that's far from now. Margaret Ward says, Michael Carter should get a bump too if you think about it. With Michael Carter, trust me, I'd be willing to go all in terms of him being a premium handcuff running back behind Breece Hall. Maybe he's startable at the beginning of the season if Breece Hall's not back from the rehab. But my issue is, I mean, we had Breece Hall go down this past year. And Bam Knight played over Michael Carter. Like, if Bam Knight played over Michael Carter, I really don't want to sit here and say that Carter has much upside at all, if I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, so it looks like we're definitely going to grab a quarterback here. I don't necessarily know which quarterback it will be, but we're going to grab, at minimum, one quarterback on the turn here. Samir says, Longhorns have been in a drought from this 1970 to 2005. My friend, how old do you think I am? I honestly think we may go back-to-back QBs. We're going to go ahead. We are going to take Kenny Pickett as well as Anthony Richardson. So it's a weird spot. Like, we have Josh Allen, Derek Carr, Kenny Pickett, Anthony Richardson at quarterback. So obviously we're not going to take another quarterback here. We're just going to be going running back, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver. But still, I mean, I feel like if we're going to get a guaranteed starting quarterback here of both these guys, and Anthony Richardson obviously has the rushing upside, makes a lot of sense to just go through and double tap him at the 6-7 turn. But let's look at where we have the Jets and the Packers guys going off the board, because I want to ask y'all a few questions. First question that I need to ask. Who would you rather have? And please spam the chat. Jordan Love or Jared Goff? Or we'll go 3 guys here. Rank these 3 players. Or just let me know, who would you rather have out of these 3? Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson. Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Russell Wilson. Who is your preference out of those 3 guys now that we have the Jameson Williams suspension, now that we have Rodgers officially traded, and also the Packers picking up additional draft capital? Okay, so we have Goff, Love, Goff, Goff, Love, Goff, Love, Goff, Goff, Wilson, Love, Goff, 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 Goff. Looks like most people are going to take Jared Goff there. I mean, I understand. Jared Goff playing behind an elite offensive line. You have a phenomenal wide receiver there in Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then maybe you have Jameson Williams coming in starting in week 7 and actually improving the overall offense in general. You still have a great passing down running back in DeAndre Swift. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense why people would want Jared Goff. I mean, it's tough. It's just so hard to know what we're going to do with Jordan Love here. Now, let's go to some of the other Jets that have been drafted so far. So we have Breece Hall going at 29. So big question is, I want to ask y'all, Breece Hall or Kenneth Walker? Now, if this was a dynasty format, I think you easily go Breece Hall, right? Long term, I think Breece Hall is a better player. I think that Breece Hall is the guy that you want to go for, 2024, 2025. But if we're looking at 2023 coming off the torn ACL, even if we have Aaron Rodgers coming over, are you going Breece Hall or are you going with Kenneth Walker? Which way? Okay, so let's see. We have Hall, Walker, Hall, Walker, Hall, Walker, 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 Walker. Yeah, it looks like most people are going to go with Kenneth Walker in redraft. I think I would do it. Honestly, if we were looking at these underdog drafts in particular, with this being a private draft, if you're joining a private draft in underdog, which is just going to be cumulative scoring weeks 1 through 17 and not have the fantasy football playoffs, in the private drafts on underdog, I think I'm definitely going to prefer Kenneth Walker there. If Breece Hall starts slow, even if he finishes strong, Kenneth Walker can still easily accumulate more points. If it is a tournament on underdog, however, given the fact that with those tournaments on underdog, like we just said, Best Ball Mania, $15 million prize pool off a $25 buy-in, where we are heavily incentivized to try to find that production in weeks 15, 16, 17. There, I would actually probably go in the direction of a Breece Hall, knowing that Breece Hall could get you that elite level ceiling for that fantasy football playoff stretch when you're needing it. So I think the tournaments on underdog, we maybe go Hall. The private drafts on underdog, we definitely go Walker. But let's see what we have with some other names. We have Garrett Wilson going directly before Amon-Ra St. Brown and CeeDee Lamb and Devontae Adams. Okay, like I said, I am very excited about Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson is a phenomenal player. In reality, I cannot take Garrett Wilson over CeeDee Lamb. I cannot take Garrett Wilson over Devontae Adams. In my mind, I think you easily need to prefer Adams as well as CeeDee Lamb over Garrett Wilson still, even with the addition of Aaron Rodgers. Where I do think it's a little interesting is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown with the Jameson Williams suspension or Garrett Wilson. John says I'm tripping and he would definitely take him over Devontae Adams. Maybe we need to ask that question. Am I losing my mind that I would still rather have Devontae Adams over Garrett Wilson? Can y'all please spam am I losing my mind here? Would y'all rather have Devontae Adams or Garrett Wilson? Please spam the chat on that front. I mean, I thought everybody would say Adams there. I thought everybody would be in agreement, Adams and Lamb. Okay, so it looks like most people are taking Adams, but we definitely have like some Wilsons being mixed in. Like Andy Murphy says he'd rather have Wilson. John says he'd rather have Wilson. Yeah, but we have a lot of Adams in. And Big Witty says Wilson in Dynasty. Yeah, of course you're going to go Garrett Wilson in Dynasty. You're going Garrett Wilson in Dynasty even if Zach Wilson is his quarterback. Okay, so let's swing this around. Okay, we can no longer take QBs. We are exclusively running back, wide receiver, tight end from here on out. Now, this is what I really wanted to ask because this is what I thought it was going to be close. Garrett Wilson or Amon-Ra St. Brown. Now we have Garrett Wilson playing with Aaron Rodgers. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown with no Jameson Williams. Who are you going with those two players? Garrett Wilson or Amon-Ra St. Brown? Please let me know. Okay, so Wilson, Amon-Ra, Wilson, St. Brown, Wilson, St. Brown, Wilson. Looks like most people would rather have Garrett Wilson over Amon-Ra St. Brown. I actually may disagree with y'all on that front. It's just interesting, right? Because the thing is with Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't want to say he had as good of a rookie season as Garrett Wilson, but Amon-Ra St. Brown had a phenomenal year one. Like if you're looking at the second half of that season, I mean, it was arguably just as good as what you had from Garrett Wilson as a rookie. Going into year two, outside of the games he played injured, they were stretches where it looked like Amon-Ra St. Brown last season was literally going to be Cooper Kupp. It looked like Amon-Ra St. Brown was turning into Cooper Kupp last year. Now he's going into year 3. You have no TJ Hawkinson. I honestly kind of want St. Brown there. I could easily be wrong, and I'll be the first person to admit that I could easily be wrong on that front. But I think I may want St. Brown. Okay, let's move this down here. Zach Charbonnet goes pick 98. And let's see if we can find Christian Watson. Yeah, so Christian Watson goes 53. So with Christian Watson, I don't think you can make an argument this helps him. I think if anything, he probably stays neutral or hurts him a bit, because with the additional draft capital that you're going to be getting from, just that Aaron Rodgers deal, they could bring in Jackson Smith-Njigba. I would easily rather have Metcalf over Christian Watson. When we're getting to the Amari, Debo, Calvin Ridley range, I would probably rather have Debo Samuel over Christian Watson still. I could be wrong on that front, but I think I still probably prefer Debo. Now, looking at some of the running backs that we have here in Green Bay, Aaron Jones should be off the board already. If we're looking at Aaron Jones, he goes pick 61 here. So Aaron Jones goes about 9 selections after Miles Sanders. I really don't like that Miles Sanders pick at pick 52. But if I'm looking at Aaron Jones and Miles Sanders, I don't know. I probably prefer Aaron Jones if I'm going to be honest with you. I think Aaron Jones is a decent value here if we're comparing him to the other running backs he goes around. Like Aaron Jones versus Dalvin Cook. After Aaron Jones restructures the contract, give me Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones versus Jahmyr Gibbs. In the private draft like this, definitely just give me Aaron Jones for cumulative scoring. It's a super interesting spot. I wonder what the Jets doing around 1 now. With that pick 15, the thing is the Jets obviously need a tight end, but at the same time, if you're a team that's looking to contend right away, are you really wanting to bring in a rookie tight end, even if you really need some help at the position? It's not like a rookie's going to be able to provide you much help immediately. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, Ryan Tannehill goes 107, but I think that's probably going to be it. So y'all know, usually we run out these entire drafts, but this was mainly just to check out where the rest of these players were going. I actually have a lot of work to do over the next 2 days because, don't know if you heard, ladies and gentlemen, your boy will be at the 2023 NFL Draft, which I could not be more excited about. And as I've said over and over and over again, it would not have been possible without all of you. Like, it still doesn't feel real. I'll be on the red carpet interviewing these guys. So thank you for everything. And of course, I want you to be there with me. We will be live streaming it all. I don't know if this has ever been done before. I don't know if anybody on YouTube has ever live streamed them interviewing players like this at the NFL Draft. So make sure you come here before the draft on Thursday so you can share this moment with me that I am very excited about. Thank you so much for everything, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. And like I said, if you want to get into our next draft with us, you can find that link in the comment section. You can find that link in the description. Underdog's about to launch that $15 million Best Ball Mania tournament, which I could not be more excited about. But thank you again for everything. I really do appreciate you, and I really hope you have a great day.